I'm going to discuss the climate that you find throughout Quebec in the northern part versus the southern part. We definitely have the influences we mentioned beforehand, in which you have the maritime versus continental, and so along maritime areas, it's going to be, on average, a little bit warmer, or temperatures a little bit more moderated, let's say, a little bit warmer in the winter, a little bit cooler in the summer along a coastline. But you go farther inland, we're talking, deep within the continent, it can get very, very, very cold in the winter. Temperatures do get a little bit warmer, but it's super, super brutally cold. And so when we think about winter, that's in terms of natural hazards, a big key time of the year. Blizzards, snowstorms, extreme cold temperatures. So when we think about polar vortex in Indiana, this is a problem they have to deal with every single winter. So looking at the climate types, we can see it's that tundra, which you find on the northern part. As you go a little bit farther south, things do change though. But we look at the tundra, what would it look like in terms of actually on the land? Let me take you there. So you can see these gently rolling slopes, but it's very much a treeless landscape, which is just a few sparse grasslands, maybe a wildflower here and there, but there's not much here. And it's because it's a very short growing season. It's because it's extremely cold. It's also because it's extremely dry. You add in the fact you also have permafrost, in which the ground is frozen either year-round or for most of the year. So there's not much good going on here. So what's one thing that is good? Yep, they do have great views of the aurora borealis. I'm going to explain as far as how this formed, but essentially it's the night sky, the northern lights as it's been referred to, in which are very easily seen up in this extreme northern part of Quebec. You go a little bit farther south, you can see it's that D climate. So we have the E climate, pretty much the climate in which nobody can live in the extreme northern part, but in the middle to the southern part of Quebec we find the subarctic climate, a particular type of D climate. And this is going to be associated with the boreal forest, and so we see these evergreen trees, these conifer trees that are littered throughout much of the middle part of Quebec. It also explains why it has a thriving, or it used to be thriving, logging and timber industry here. And so why have over time these trees evolved to have this thin or maybe even this conical or triangular shape is because of the winter season. That snow, when it falls, it sticks around on those branches for a good amount of time. And so over time, the trees have evolved not to have long branches because they would collapse under the weight of that snow over time. But we can see also, this is something I'll talk about also when we look at the physical geography, it's just littered with these bogs, these lakes, these swampy areas. And so it's very typical of a post-glacial landscape. We go a little farther to the south. We have the DFB, or the kind of the humid continental climate. This is a little more what you find in Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota, parts of the Great Plains, the northern Great Plains there, in which can get kind of warm in the summer, but we're talking brutally cold winters. But nonetheless, those are places that have decent agriculture. So this is going to be the one part of Quebec in which you're going to see agriculture at least being capable of being done. So because of the climate. And so here we have long enough growing season, warm enough temperatures. Now, not everywhere do we see agriculture in this teal-colored area because, once again, it has to do with the landscape. And so it's very rugged and crappy soils, and a good amount of this teal area. And so it's just a few little areas, slivers, in which it has the good climate, but also has the good landform, the good topography for agriculture to thrive. And what you would find also in this particular area is what we'd find in New England, so especially the eastern townships. I mean, this is what the terrain will look like. And so you have deciduous trees here, trees that actually lose their leaves.